I'm growing to the assumption that we're all living in our karma. I think if you look at your life, a lot of stuff that's happened to you, a lot of things you've experienced, a lot of things feel like it's just been so personal to you, you know? And maybe a lot of our life is based around our past life. Maybe the life we're living in current day is really just karma from our last life, you know? Because I just never understood how some people just have such a better life than others. And I'm under that assumption. I really do feel like some people, just black and white, just have a better life than others. They have a better family, they look better, they make more money, they have an active social life, they're talented or gifted at something, and they're living a decent life. I really do believe there are people like that out there that just have a really good life. I mean, they have their problems, but it's nowhere near certain people's problems. And then you have people that just have a fucked up life. They have barely no family. They're not as attractive. They have health issues. They have all this bad stuff happening to them in their life. They don't have any friends. If they had a friend, they lost them to a freak accident or some gun violence or something. It's like their whole life is just a nightmare. And it's like you would think they just got born into this world, and their whole life from the point they were born was just a train wreck. And it's like, how does somebody deserve that out the gate? A train wreck kind of life. And I ask myself sometimes, even with my life, I do feel a lot of things that's happened to me. I just don't understand why. I don't understand why I had to experience those things or those situations. But I feel like it has to do with karma. I'm a firm believer in karma. And I'm a firm believer in us all having a past life. Now, who I was in my past life, what I did in my past life, I don't know. We don't know who we were in our past life. But I do believe we all had a past life, and we were somebody, and we did stuff in our past life, whether it was good or bad. And we see the reflection of those choices in our current life. And I do believe we keep coming back to this world until we do it right. Until we do what we're supposed to do, we keep getting reincarnated, whether it's in our children, whether it's in our somebody else that was right with us. They take on our characteristics, and now they have the mission to complete what we couldn't complete. Somehow, some way, we are being reincarnated because we have to continuously keep doing this until we get it right. And some of us are consistently just fucking up, and we're not realizing what we're fucking up at. We don't realize that small voice in our head telling us to do something is our calling, but we keep ignoring it because of fear, doubt. But it's like, what is giving you that fear and doubt? Where does that come from? It has to be deeper. This is a deep thought kind of video, it's just kind of make you think, kind of make you ask yourself some questions. Do you believe in karma? Do you believe that you have good karma or bad karma? I'm very curious to know, because for me, I think I have okay karma. I feel like my life hasn't been terrible, but there's a lot of things I've gone through where it's like if I didn't go through those things, my life would be completely different. I mean, drastically different. I would be a completely different person if I wasn't given certain obstacles to deal with in my current life. I would be such a completely different person. I would have so many different experiences. I can just already see the life that I would be living. If I didn't have certain things I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis and battle with, if I didn't have those issues or problems, I really do believe I would be such a different person in a good way. But at the same time, I've managed to work through my little issues and the things that I deal with every single day to become a decent person, overall, I feel. But I just know my potential. I just feel like certain things I was born with and born into kind of hindered it. It hindered a lot. And I just be like, what You know, why is it that some people get born into a life where everything is, you know, is everything is works out for them. Everything always works out for them. And then for certain people, it's like life just life just gives them a shitty hand of cards, you know, that they have to fucking wash off and figure out what the fuck card this is and what card that is, you know, because everything's all fucking wet and disoriented. But it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's a really good thought to think about. You know, it's not about being negative about your life, but it's about just thinking to yourself, you know, if this if this is a third or second or fourth chance, you know, what can we be doing in this lifetime to make this lifetime better or the next lifetime better if we're too far gone in this lifetime? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are some steps that we could take? You know, that we know in ourselves that we should be taking, but we're not taking. You know, but I just feel like I'm really kind of entering this space in my life where I really just want to start diving deeper into the spiritual world of just understanding why we even exist. You know, what is this thing called life? Why do we have certain obstacles in our way? Why is it that some people succeed and some people fail? Why is it that some people have a bad childhood and some have a good childhood? Because you really can't control that. Your parents kind of dictate that. But why did some get bad parents and some got good parents? You know, shit like that makes me think, you know. I'm a firm believer in God, Jesus Christ. I'm not afraid to say that. I don't care what nobody says. That's who I believe in. That's who I put all my faith into, the man above. And I'm not questioning God, but I just do have questions, at least to myself. Maybe that's why God put those in my brain to think about. Maybe it's for me to understand and dissect. And maybe I'll answer my own question one day. But yeah, food for thought.